P&D, Counselor Andrus.
Here.
Counselor Gwaltney.
Here.
Counselor Wolverton.
Here.
Counselor Sims. And Counselor Nails.
Here.
Sims is absent.
Yes.
You got 4 present, you got 4.
Okay, thank you. I'll begin with a motion to dispense with the reading and approve the minutes from July 10th.
Motion. Second.
Motion from Counselor Wolverton, second from Counselor Gwaltney. I am going to abstain because I wasn't there. Is that right? Yeah, I'm going to abstain since I wasn't there, and thank you for chairing. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And I will abstain. So that is going to go 301 on the minutes, please. Okay, old business none, new business 090723, public hearing set for August 14th, 2023 at 6 p.m. for consideration to approve a final development plan for 815 Green Springs Highway, zoning Bird, applicant owner Brian Hatcher, Green Springs Development for LLC for proposed redevelopment of a 4-acre site for a new mixed-use development to be called The Edge, that is centered around the renovation of 2 existing buildings, designed to contain multiple functions and uses, including restaurants and retail space, as well as the planned construction of a new 5,000 square foot retail building, along with associated parking, landscaping, and other site improvements. The Planning Commission had a vote of 5-0 to 4. 4 were absent. That was for me as well. For a favorable recommendation. Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Marcy and JJ are here, and I'm going to turn it over to them
So if y'all will
in
go
a
ahead.
second. I do want to bring to your, so when we were at the Planning Commission, there was a lot of questions about a front yard fence, which will be heard next Thursday.
At BZA.
For a front yard fence variance and the dumpster location, which is here. That's the dumpster location, and the front yard fence is just right here. So they can speak to as much or as little about that, but just know that that's on the BZA
Okay,
agenda.
for the BZA.
Yeah, I'm Marcy Wilford with LBYD Engineers. You read most of it, but we're renovating the front 2 buildings and a new building in the back to be retail and restaurant. And then all of our plans will be up to standards and codes for the city. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
The 2 existing buildings, is that the old vape store and the whatever else was there?
What old store?
The vape store. There was the vape store.
Okay.
Royal Tobacco.
Yes.
And then a couple down, and then Gulf Seafood. was
Yeah,
there
the
at
seafood
24.
place, yeah, that's the other one.
And then the building on the right's now demolished.
Gone,
I think it was a Captain D's or something.
Yeah, it was, and then it was.
I may have missed this. Do you have a sense of where we're trying to track the retail and restaurant space?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to get locally owned restaurants. The design calls for 4 micro restaurants, so like 500 square foot. Think Bazit's Food Hall. Again, this is what we want. It depends on who will pay rent. But then the big Royal Tobacco is divided into 2,000 and 2,000, give or take. And we are dangerously close to signing our first lease on the front, and then talking to a few locally owned restaurants for the back. And then the single story on the back, that shows 3-story. We were looking at co-working, which we've scratched. The single story would be all retail on the back.
Where's that?
You see that the pickleball, and it looks like a huge tall
Yes,
building.
yes.
That is now just single story, approximately 4,000 to 5,000 square foot retail. Think fitness, kind of like downtown Homewood type tenants.
And I'm sorry, I got distracted by something. What was the use of the front portion again? The tenant mix?
It's gonna, the
I know
front,
it's proposed.
yeah, proposed front will be all restaurant, think coffee,
Okay.
That sort of thing.
Gotcha.
Maybe a restaurant with a bar, and then the back building will be all retail as
Good.
proposed.
And the fence that they've submitted to the BZA does not look like the fence that's on this drawing.
What does it look like?
It's a 4-foot black
Metal.
Iron.
metal iron, highly recommended by the city, I believe. Not highly.
Suggested.
If you
It
want
looks
to have a
good. It
shot,
looks
this
good.
is what
Well,
you should.
I will say, I said the same thing to, I forget, under Vulcan LLC that was here. I appreciate your addressing the parking situation, because it looks like you have ample parking, I assume.
We will.
But that's a good thing.
Yeah, thank you.
It's always a challenge in these developments.
Is that, the grass that you were showing, is that,
Turf.
yes, thank you, turf?
Yeah, so we'll have anywhere between 3,000 and 5,000 square foot turf, a stage. It'll be the 8910 gravel on the front by Green Springs with shaded seating, and then we'll have all-weather cover for part of the in-between the buildings, which will be about 1,500, 2,000 square foot of outdoor seating. We're trying to put everyone outdoor as much as possible.
And is it only accessible from the Green Springs side, or can you get into the development from the Columbiana side?
From a vehicle, only Green Springs,
Only
but
Green
we'll
Springs.
have a connection to the Edgewood neighborhood for strollers,
walk.
bikes, walking.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't wanna minimize this, but this is exactly the reason we invested in Green Springs. And I welcome more projects like this all along the corridor, and, you know, the first time we invested, it was like 2002 or something, and we didn't get the amount, but I think the updated renovation, with the median, I think this is exactly what we're looking for, and I'm sure people have been to the Hub, which is there's a new name for it now.
The Big Chill on
The
30A.
Big Chill on 30A, and I went there a few weeks ago and just thought, man, this is exactly what we need, and to have a little stage area, and I mean, I think it's great. Very cool.
Thank you. Yeah, no, the city has done an amazing job, and all the tenants we're talking to, they come and they notice the work
On Green Springs,
Yeah, they do.
exactly, the bike
Yeah,
lanes
they
and
do.
the
And I don't
medians
think this
and
would
the
work
trees.
without the work the city
Exactly.
did, so
Exactly.
appreciate that.
I appreciate, Counselor Jones, your investment in this area of town, and I appreciate what
Yeah,
we've
long
done
time ago,
on,
too.
yes, exactly. I mean, I agree with you, that all ties together, that is what this is all about,
Yes.
is making this more family friendly,
Yeah.
making this slower, making this green.
We should.
I thought at one point I'd heard there was like a church concept or something involved with this too, is that?
Yeah, so if you look at the overall site plan, I'm only keeping, and by the way, I'm under a developer, I'm only keeping about 1.5 acres on the front. I'm under contract to sell the back 2.27 acres, and right now the proposed purchaser is a church.
Gotcha, so it's, none of that's in this plan, it would be property?
That's right, and
That's
that may or
currently
may not
owned.
happen, but that's closer to Columbiana Road.
Okay.
It's that kind of rectangle that would be behind that single-story retail.
So that'd be a potential separate building? and-
Totally separate, and I would not own that, they would, yeah, that kind of.
Gotcha.
Generally speaking, it's that area.
I mean, just the difference in the gray and the asphalt and the concrete and then the green is just incredible.
Wow.
That's concrete jungle, baby.
That used to be the Captain D's, and then that was the vape shop, and then that was the
What was
seafood
the
restaurant.
red place?
That was the Captain D's originally, and then it turned into like a buffet restaurant that was open on Sundays.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's gone now, the building's not there
It
anymore.
built itself as a-
Right.
Yeah, but now the building's gone, so a food truck just
But
sets
is
up.
that Captain D's or is that something else?
No, the red top building, that was initially the Captain D's.
Was it?
Years
A
ago.
long, many years ago.
All right, and
So-
did you sign it also? Did you sign
I
it?
did.
That's
Okay,
all I remember.
so, Mr. Kendrick, is this public hearing, has it already been set? We already set this, okay. So the recommendation, I mean, the motion would be a recommendation, okay.
Yeah, without recommendation,
Second.
pending the public hearing.
All right, pending public hearing, thank you. I've got a motion from Councilor Wolverton and a second.
Mike has a
Can I
question.
ask a question? Go back to the development plan. You mentioned the back part, you've got a contract to sell it.
Yes, sir.
I'm just curious, why would we go ahead and subdivide the lots? Because you couldn't build anything other than what's approved.
We are only seeking a development plan for what I plan to retain ownership of and development on.
I understand, but
Okay.
that's why I'm saying, why are we not subdividing what you're gonna own versus what you might sell to this church or whoever?
Well, it's part of, that's a good question, so, then feel free to chime in. I know you and Brian thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, so right now we show the proposed property line just so that it's clear kind of what we're getting a development plan for, but we are in the process of starting the subdivision. So we're not as
Well, what
far
I'm saying to you is, pull that map back up, you're approving, the way you proposed it, you're approving all this dirt that you're not gonna use.
We'll come back and amend it.
Right.
But since we don't know what we're gonna do with that back 2 acres, if I may keep it, I may, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I'm not saying that, what I'm saying is, it wouldn't dictate what you would use it for, but it would dictate the property lines that you already drawn on here. I don't understand why we're approving dirt that you're not gonna develop. When you're restricted to the development that you're proposing only on the front part.
would it be beneficial for us to take the property lines off?
Well, no, it'd be beneficial to
Subdivide the lot.
Subdivide the property.
But he doesn't know this.
Which we're in the process of, but we were directed to go ahead and get the development plan in place so that he can kind of start working on his property, since, you know, the subdivision's fallen a little bit further
Yeah.
behind.
Do you
the rest
don't have a
of the-
I
contract?
don't wanna delay that, but I'm.
You don't have a contract?
No,
I'm
that-
not gonna develop
Maybe
the
a
back
permit.
part, so
I
what?
mean, you don't have a contract
What
for the
is
back
the
part.
detriment to not, to
Yeah, so.
subdividing?
You don't have a, yeah.
No, it's not.
But is there any detriment if they don't?
Well, they're gonna have to come
It's
back
got to amend
essentially,
it.
at some point, they're gonna have to do it.
But they're saying they're planning on that, so.
This is in our opinion, this was the most efficient way to get this commercial development going, and some of the tenants were very sensitive to wanting to be open as soon as possible. We are open to anything the thing is, I may not subdivide, you know, it may be part of
But
it.
you can't build anything on it.
That's right, until we come back.
Till
So
he
we
has
wanted to
one.
keep that option open and just focus on what we do know, what we're gonna do with that approximate, whatever acreage that is.
Okay.
What, I guess the question I have is, since there are potential suitors, what zoning would be consistent with a church or something else that would?
It's GERD.
Potentially.
Everything's
what's
within
that?
GERD.
It's
It's
within
GERD.
GERD, yeah.
Zoning's not changing.
They're not changing any zoning.
Yeah.
Had to make sure you
Brand
can't
new
for
mixed
simple
use.
letters.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
All right.
It's already
Gotcha,
zoned
gotcha,
for
gotcha.
GERD.
Okay, I've got a
Thanks
motion
for
from
making
Counselor
it. Gotcha.
Wilverton and a second from Counselor Gwaltney. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes 4-0, and that will be at the city council in, August 14th for a vote.
You just sent out that recommendation.
I just,
Yes.
the motion
That
was
was the
Counselor
motion.
Wilverton and
Thank you.
second from Counselor
Sorry, I
Gwaltney.